Order. This is the regular meeting of the North Oakland Transportation Authority. It is Thursday, October 17th, 2024, and we're meeting at Oxford Township's Hall. Could we have a roll call for attendance, please?
Sure. McDonald?
Here.
Flood?
Here.
Brakefield?
Here.
Pearson is excused. Curtis?
Here.
Bordeaux is excused. Payne is excused. Granger? Here. Cyrowski?
Here.
Waffle is excused. Burnett is excused.
Okay, we do have a quorum. So we'll move on then to Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, the board has an agenda before it. We're going to strike discussion on 10D, Independence Township contract, that we had hoped it would be ready for us today, but it is not. So with that amendment, what is the pleasure of the board?
I'll make a motion that we approve the agenda as modified.
Support.
Okay, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say no. Okay, motion carries. The board has received the minutes in their packet of our regular meeting that was held in September. Are there any questions, changes, or corrections? Otherwise, a motion to approve would be in order.
I'll make a motion we approve the minutes as written.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes as presented. All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say no. Okay, moving on to the director's report.
Yes.
Lynn?
Yes. We have signed our Q-Ride contract. It was a little bit later than what we had anticipated. The county asked us to wait. SMART was thinking they were going to have a solution for us, but it didn't come through. So we did move ahead with that last week. So we should be up and running hopefully within 60 to 90 days, which is good because our system's been really lagging. We actually had to have dispatchers come in overtime just to try to catch up with all the rides because the system's lagging so slowly. So that is critical right now for us. We're having our mandatory all-day training, which is going to be on Saturday, 8 to 4. Looking forward to that. It's our first active shooter awareness training that we're going to have, which is great, as well as drug and alcohol, driver safety, benefit review, wheelchair securement refresher, and a lot more. Ray Hammond was supposed to be here today to present the training program. His dog just passed away today, so he will not be able to join us today, so he'll join us next month. So, and then we just have our the 25 budget included, thank you, Jack, as well as there's some adjustments with that. We have the Oakland County contract, which has the adjusted budget in it, and then Em and I went away and to our business plan, and the business plan is included with today. And again, like Mike said, the Independence Township contract is being worked through. There's some issues that we're going back and forth on, so once we have a final contract that we kind of both all agree on, then we'll bring that back to the board next month. And that's all. Thank you.
Do any of the members have a question for Lynn regarding her report? Hearing none?
I'll make a motion to receive and file.
I'll second.
We have a motion to receive and file the director's report. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say no. Okay, motion carried. Moving on to public comments. Hearing none, we'll move on to the approval of financial activity. That would be the informational activity first.
I move to receive and file the financial activities.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to receive and file the financial activity report. All in favor? Well, let's see, I don't know. Do we do a roll call on that, Lynn? Or?
Oh.
No, I think we just do. All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say no.
He's going to do it anyway.
Okay.
Next item is the approval of the bills in the amount of,
$256,014.35.
are there any questions on the accounts payable?
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the bills in the amount of $256,014.35.
I'll second.
Who was second?
Oh,
Okay. Sir?
Carl.
Carl?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, motion and a second have been made. Is there any discussion on the motion? If none, we'll have a roll call vote. Lynn, please.
McDonald,
Yes.
Flood,
Yes.
Brakefield,
Yes.
Curtis,
Yes.
Granger,
Yes.
Cyrowski.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. We'll move on to the adjusted 2025 budget proposal. I'm going to ask Lynn to give us a synopsis and maybe point out the points we are pertinent, and then we'll move on to adopting.
Yes. So I presented the original budget that was approved last month to Oakland County, where we were requesting about $7.9 million from them. They had received all 5 budgets from the 5 transit providers, and the total budget was over about $7 million. So they asked us to go back to work and to try to get down to about $6.5 million. So I made some adjustments, and we're down on this budget that we have is $6,659,346. And I have given Oakland County this budget, and it is part of the agreement, so he's okay with that amount. Now, in order for me to take that cut, things I had to do, I got rid of the 3 new vehicles that we had originally budgeted. There were 3 transits. But we will be getting 6 vehicles through Independence Township, so I think we'll be fine with that. I'm not looking to do as much growth, obviously, as we had this year. We're looking at about a 10% growth, so I think with having those extra 6 vehicles, we should be fine with that. So that was $300,000. I also reduced the building renovation costs. So what Oakland County had suggested is possibly we divide up and just do the office area in the front this year and then do the back area next year. But when I looked at doing the soft costs for both of those, it would really almost double the cost of the project. You have to do the project manager and the permits, and then being under construction for 2 years is also a problem. So I removed the bus wash and the mechanics area, the garage area. It's not necessary right now for those areas. We can always add those after if we need to. Plus, at this point, when I'm looking at what we are spending on repairs and maintenance, because our vehicles are so new right now, it's, I think, cheaper to just outsource for now. I think eventually it's going to flip, where it's going to be smarter for us to have it in-house, possibly. But right now, there's still a cost savings for us outsourcing for now compared to that. So I removed those. So that got the price down for the renovations that was originally $1.9 million down to $1,550,000. Now, there still was we had a couple other adjustments that we needed to add to it. Our driver training, our driver ride-alongs and whatnot that we're adding, added some costs, so I had to increase that. We also met with some vehicle camera vendors, because we have to replace those, and we had to increase some of those costs there because they were higher than what I had anticipated. I just have a $130,000 grant, but we needed some extra money for that, so I had to build it into it. And then what I did to make up the shortfall is to have a $500,000 fund balance draw to help pay for the Suite B renovations, with the idea that we could still possibly look out for some funding from legislative appropriations, potentially, either federal or state. I know that I talked with the chairman, and he had suggested doing that, which I think is a great idea. I looked into possibly using federal dollars, but it wouldn't apply for us because we had purchased the building with local funds. But there may potentially be some appropriation dollars that could help cover that $500,000. And I don't know if you remember from last month, we talked about having that overage amount that we didn't spend over the last 2 years. It was like $1.6 million that we had extra in the fund balance. That we were thinking of taking a portion of that cost potentially and using for renovations. So 500,000 right now is about, a third of the total cost. So I thought that number was reasonable, but that's how I've come up with the adjusted budget, which the total then went from 11,096,205 down to 10,849,654. And again, Oakland County was in agreement with that, and they're pushing it through their committees right now.
Is that, are there questions
Is
for
there
Lynn?
questions on that?
No. I'll go first.
Mhm.
Just in summary, with the addition of the 3 additional communities, do you have a numerical amount that benefited Nota? Because each of those communities obviously pays in. So did we realize any increase from last year as per
Yeah.
community, or is it just those communities?
We didn't really look at it by community. It was more in total for the amount of routes that we're
Okay.
using. I know Independence wants us to kind of build out a budget of what portion of our costs are relating to those new areas. And what I did is I took, since we're at about 50 routes, and we're about 15 routes over there for next year, I took 15 divided by 50 is like 30%. I multiplied that to kind of give them a rough estimate of what the true cost of the amount was, because they wanted for their taxpayers to see where were their taxpayers' money's going, and it showed, I think it was like 2.7 million of the county's money is going, they're seeing that money coming back to them, and that was something I know that they wanted to see, so.
And I think that's
Mhm.
representative of our,
Mhm.
our interests as well.
Right.
To make sure that we're capturing as much of that funding and bringing it back to Nota
Right.
from our communities as well. So going forward, that's probably a good number to have available as we do this.
Sure.
Anybody else? Questions? Okay, well, Lynn's done the best she can with Oakland County, with Oakland County Transit. She's come up with the budget, total, a balanced budget of $6,659,346. So what is the pleasure of the board on amending or adopting the proposed budget for 2025?
I'll go ahead and make that motion. Do we accept the modified, adjusted 2025 budget of $659,346?
For the Oakland County, the total budget is 10,849.
You want me,
Or
the
I
total
don't know the
budget?
number.
Oh, okay.
I can do that.
That's better,
Yes,
right?
yes.
So,
Total budget.
okay,
Uh-huh.
so,
What was it?
$10,849,654, which
You
includes.
got it? 10,849,654 for the total budget.
Yes. Thank you.
I'll support.
okay,
Lynn,
yes.
is this different than the budget you sent, the numbers different to Danielle?
I have to remember when I sent it. It
I-
may be, I think it is, because I think we
Okay.
sent it right after we.
Please resend it to her so we can
Yes,
have an
yeah, that's
updated
right.
copy.
Yeah, it should go to each community,
Okay.
so. I don't know, oh, we missed that. Okay. All right, so could we have a roll call then, when you're ready, Lynn?
Sure. McDonald,
Yes.
Flood,
Yes.
Brakefield.
Yes.
Curtis,
Yes,
Granger. Yes. Cyrowski.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries, we've adopted the budget. We'll move on then to old business. Hearing or seeing none, we'll go to new business. Pursuant to our last month's meeting, Lynn has moved forward with the new positions. And Lynn, if you want to talk about the new trainer?
Actually, I might have Mike, do you mind
Mike?
talking? Yeah, sure.
So we hired Ray Hammond. Ray was a driver of ours for a short time. He came after the first of the year. He is a U.S. Navy veteran. He worked at Ford Motor Company for, it looks like about 6 years. He was a manager there in the electrical and fuel handling division. He also was a manager for facilities and maintenance, and I think he had a safety role with Fort Michael Corporation out of Cincinnati for a number of years. And then he retired out of General Motors as a finance analyst. So Ray is taking over our training. As you know, the amount of people that we brought on in the last year, and especially in the last 10 months, is astounding. And the thing that Ray is looking at the most that we asked him to look at, of course, is new driver training and also the current drivers as well. But we're looking at risk mitigation. We're looking at the known risks and the unknown risks. We are trying to figure out, known risks are pretty easy. It's the unknown risks. And so he has, over the last week already, developed a nice program in which we're going to be able to assess the known and unknown risks as far as green, not so bad, yellow, we got to get on this, red right now. And this is our first steps. He's already taken over assigning new hires with trainers. And as soon as Emma comes back, Emma is our lead dispatcher. She's been in Australia for a few weeks. She'll be back tomorrow, but sometime next week, he's going to work with her to get ride-along scheduled with all of our riders so we can dot all of our I's and cross all of our T's. So we'll have very good oversight now that he's here. So
How was his driving record while he was a Nota driver?
excellent.
Okay,
Excellent.
good.
And his driving record is excellent, and his service record is too. Yeah, he treats the public just like he would want his grandmother to be treated. So, yeah.
Thank you, Mike.
Yeah.
Is there anything else, Lynn, that he would need to address?
No, no.
Okay. All right, thank you. Okay, and then Oakland County contract, 2025. Where are we with that, Lynn?
It's completed, it's in the packet, and it includes the budget that you just approved
Right.
for the 10,849. So it's basically the same as last year's contract. It just has the new numbers built into it, so there really isn't a lot of changes that I see related to that.
Okay, as the chair, I'm going to exercise my ability to ask a single question, and that is, and I should have asked this in the budget section maybe, but we adjusted our budget. What about WODA, SMART, the others? Have they all adjusted downward, including SMART?
All of the
the t-
4 providers have all reduced their budget by
Okay.
about the same amount.
Percentage-wise or amount-wise?
Well, percentage-wise, yes.
Percentage-wise? Okay.
Now, SMART is still in negotiations. They're having, they asked a pretty, it was a huge ask, and they aren't budging, so they're having conferences and negotiations with their general management on both sides, Oakland County and SMART right now, trying to come up with it. So it's kind of getting into hardball territory. So that has not been figured out yet. So, but Eli's very happy working with all of us, and I think it's much more challenging working with them right now. So that has not been,
Okay.
but
Look.
he's asking for a big reduction.
Yeah, I think we all saw that, or most of us saw that coming from our own experience, but otherwise, as Lynn stated, the contract is similar to last year's, except for in the terms of the amounts of money. So what is the pleasure, or are there any questions, and then we can move on to motion? No questions? Is there a motion then to approve the Oakland County contract between Oakland County and the North Oakland Transportation Authority?
So move. Support.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Are there any questions on the motion? Hearing none, do we have a roll call, please, Lynn?
Sure. McDonald?
Yes.
Flood?
Yes.
Brakefield?
Yes.
Curtis?
Yes.
Granger? Yes. Cyrowski?
Yes.
Motion carries. The board received the draft Nota business plan, and I have to say that I actually devoted more time to that than I did to our agenda items this month, just because it was obviously a lot of work went into that to create it. And Lynn is, and our organization is looking for our input from the communities to review this and make sure that you comment. We're not going to adopt it today, but we would like to move forward. So the organizations and communities that are involved need to give her feedback sooner than later. And then I expect we'll see it on the agenda next month, most likely.
I'm hoping to have the appendix information finalized. I didn't have a chance to finish that, so. Mhm.
Okay, so.
When does this go into effect?
Yeah, as soon as we adopt it. So it's really, the primary goal right now is safety. That was our number one goal, right? And so that's, already kind of being implemented currently, but it's a living document, so it's going to continually change. But we just wanted to try to, our instructor basically said, try to pick 3 to 5 key goals right now. And then you can always, if you meet those goals, and you can always add additional goals through the year if that's need be. But what are your important targets right now to address? So.
Got it.
Mhm.
And we deal with them every meeting, those priorities, the safety,
Yeah.
the expansion of Nota, cost efficiency, and being fiscally responsible. So it's a good basic starting point for us, and we support it, So that said, if you want to make some comments now, you may, but it would be preferable if you put them in writing and get them
Yep.
to Lynn, and as soon as practical. And we can move on from there. Is there anybody else has a comment or anything about the business plan? Hearing none, then we'll move on to closed session, legal matters. That's legal, that's,
Do I need to make a
Con-
motion to go into closed session? I'd
Right.
like to make a motion, we go into closed session.
is there a
Support.
second? Okay. Motion
Cut the
and second.
cameras.
Could we have a roll call to go into closed session with legal matter consideration?
Yes. McDonald?
Yes.
Flood?
Yes.
Brakefield?
Yes.
Curtis?
Yes.
Granger? Yes. Cyrowski?
Yes.
Okay, so we are now in closed session. Okay, we're back in open session now. The next item on the agenda is public comments. Hearing none, we'll move on to the monthly rider and mileage reports.
I'll make a motion that we receive and file the report.
Support.
Okay, we have motion and second to receive and file the monthly rider and mileage reports. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed, please say no. Board member comments, start left to right. Mr. Flood?
Most of you might know that Chris's mother passed away yesterday. And the obituary is posted. The viewing is Sunday at Moded's on Silver Bell and 24, and then funeral will be held on Monday at Kensington Church, the Troy campus. So,
Thank you for that.
you're welcome.
Mr. Brakefield?
Good job on the report, business plan, a lot of hard work went into it.
Okay, I don't have any comments. Would you? Huh? Carl?
Yeah, just a question on the business plan. You want our comments before the next meeting in writing?
If you could, yes,
Okay.
just if you could email, that would be great. Thank you.
Mr. Curtis?
Yes, with the addition of Independence and everybody else, are they gonna have board representation?
That has not been brought up. The idea is that we're just contracted through Oakland County and providing service through them, for them.
That's the same thing we do. I mean, we don't give you money, we don't do anything for you,
Right.
and we're on this board. What about Independence?
They haven't
Oh,
asked
no.
yet.
And the way our intergovernmental agreement is made is the townships are the contributing bodies with the subset of each village is part of each township. And we have a fiduciary interest and a responsibility to our electors who paid to build and buy Nota and make it what it is, once it, up until we agreed contractually to expand to satisfy Oakland County's requirements. So there's no, if Nota wants them to join, we could theoretically invite them to join. I'm not sure that that would actually benefit us unless they came in and bought into the organization.
Okay, yeah, this is a great debate topic that I'd love to have with anybody. Right now, Oakland County's got more money in the building, or once the rehab is done, than we will have in total in the building. All of our vehicles have been replaced at our .25 millage bought with the .95 village or given to us by SMART. So our fiduciary responsibility is now nothing more than a contract service to Oakland County. While all of us do the .95, including independents, our decisions are made on that .95 mils. We're not buying any buses anymore for Oxford, Orion, and Addison, or the villages. At some point here, I'm signing checks for hundreds of thousands of dollars, and quite frankly, it's not my money, and it's not this board's money.
The millage is a 10-year millage, so you don't know what's going to happen at the end of the 10 years, right?
Correct.
So we could potentially, if the Oakland County millage doesn't go through, then we could go back to the Nota millage. Or we could,
And
you know,
then the
it
county
be-
would say, well, I have $1 million in retrofit your building. I have $800,000 in your parking lot, so we have more invested in your building than we do, so let's sell it and split it.
They don't have the ownership though of it.
Right, they
So
don't.
We have the ownership of
We're,
it. so
we're contracting to them, and it
Right.
just seems that we're not including some and including some because we always have. That's where I'm thinking.
It's defined somewhere. When she sent me I asked for kind of catch-up documents, and so it's defined on who exactly is on this board.
Mm-hmm.
So it would just need to be amended.
Yeah, it was defined when we were paying for it. Now we're not. Maybe we should
Is
revisit
it in the
that.
Oakland County contract? Who's on the board?
It's the intergovernmental agreement. They have
Is it,
to-
yeah, it's in one
that
of the
one.
agreements.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's in the original it's.
I mean, I don't mind sitting in here. I come in here at 4 in the morning. I don't leave here a lot of times till 9 o'clock tonight. I won't leave. But it just, we're not including independents, and yet they're coming in and they're giving us 6 buses. We're paying for rental on the spot, but they have no say in it.
Well,
I'm
they
just
don't-
asking a question.
Oakland County managed the contract with us
Yes.
with the assumption that they told us flat out that vehicles would be coming back to them, nothing else. As any purchases of vehicles would be to them, not the building, not our assets, none of that. They know, because they give us the money to budget it for our improvements. But
Yeah.
unless a community wants to buy in and share the risk of what you're worried about, buy in, not be invited in,
They're being bought in by .95.
no, they're not.
Why?
Not the-
Well, I'll debate it with you. I'm not going to argue.
Yeah, they don't own this.
We don't own it
We own the facility and the assets.
until 10 years. And then you have 0 buses.
No, that
You lay off 165 people,
you can account for it your way. I'm gonna account for it my way. They
and your
don't-
way is wrong, in my opinion.
The improvements that we're making are to satisfy the demand that Oakland County has of their expectations.
And when they walk away,
And that there's nothing in our agreements that say that they're gonna own us or that we owe them. So I consider that legally satisfactory, but.
are you an attorney?
No, I'm not.
I just wondered.
No, I'm not.
Okay, legally,
And I did not profess to be.
no, you just did because you said legally we don't have a leg to stand on, but I disagree. Because right now, we are holding a contract with Oakland County to provide services to our community. Now we're providing services to another community, and we're not allowing them to come into our board.
Nobody's not allowing, they would have to ask, or we would have to invite them in.
I'm just
Or-
always,
Or, and if they're gonna buy it, they're gonna share the risk with us, then they can, in my opinion, they would be liable to help support, pay
What's
us
the
back
risk?
for some of our investments.
what's the risk?
Risk of what?
I don't know, you said they'd have to share the risk with us. What
The
risk is
risk
that?
losing what we've already bought.
We've already lost all the vehicles.
Okay, so they shouldn't have to share the risk, but they should be.
They're bringing 6 vehicles in.
I'm talking about the building, Jack. We've got over $2 million in building. We've got, a number of vehicles that we're responsible for. Do we still own any of them?
I thought you told me we didn't own any, Lynn.
How many of the older ones that we still have? Just a couple, not
A
much.
couple?
Yeah.
And what's their life cycle on them? See, what I'm getting at is we're bringing more and more people in here, and this community is telling Oakland County, who's giving us all this money, what to do. If they're in the contract to be with us, which is in lawyer hands right now, shouldn't they be invited to come?
You think they want to share the risk?
The risk is 0.95.
I'm not an attorney, and I'm not going to argue the point. We're talking hypotheticals to various degrees.
Yes,
Does anybody else have a comment? Jack, are you done?
I'm done.
Okay. All right, thank you.
I would move to adjourn.
I'll second.
All right. At what time?
It was a good discussion.
5:15.